So the final piece of news I want to talk about for this episode of the podcast is the International Ice Hockey Federation's upcoming Continental Cup. Unfortunately, this yearly event, which we over here in England keep quite good to have tabs on because it's a league that we have a team in every year. Unfortunately, it's not running this year, so let me just take you through this article. The International Ice Hockey Federation has confirmed the cancellation of the upcoming Continental Cup competition due to the coronavirus pandemic. The council made the decision during a video conference yesterday, which was Monday the 24th of August when they had that conference. The expert group established to analyse and evaluate the playing status of all tournaments during the coronavirus held its first meeting last week, and Europe's second-tier club competition, the Continental Cup, was scheduled to begin in October with the qualifying round, and they just decided travelling restriction. With the reason they've decided this is due to the travelling restrictions in Iceland, along with existing concerns surrounding the capability of tournament hosts, and obviously there's lots of different teams from lots of different countries and leagues and different social distancing policies in place and different levels of the coronavirus there. So, unfortunately, it looks like the Continental Cup is not going to be running this year. Our local team, the Sheffield Steelers, will not be taking part in the tournament. Chris, what do you think about this news that the Continental Cup is not running this year?
Understandable. It's slightly disappointing because the Elite League sides tend to do quite well.
Yeah.
The Steelers... So it was the Belfast Giants, wasn't it, last year?
There was Nottingham the year before.
Yeah, so Belfast Giants got second in the whole tournament last year.
Yep.
The Panthers have won it before, the Nottingham Panthers.
Yep.
Coventry Blaze have got to the final before. The Steelers have got to the final before. So we do tend to do quite well in it. Considering we're now more European-based listeners and the leagues we're covering, probably the best way of explaining the Continental Cup for anyone who's unaware is it's like the Football Europa League.
Yeah.
So in football, we have the European competition, which is the Champions League, which is the pinnacle European club competition here in Europe. And that's where you have your Manchester Uniteds and your Barcelonas and your Real Madrids, the top teams from each country. And the equivalent of that is the Champions Hockey League. And then underneath that, you have the Continental Cup, which is similar to the Europa League, which has the teams that weren't quite good enough for the Champions League who go into the Europa League, and similarly with the Continental Cup. And then usually what happens is the winner of the Continental Cup each year gets a place in the Champions Hockey League for the following year. So last year it was a Danish side that won it. If I remember correctly, it was a
Sondershijk or something, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've been given a spot in the Champions Hockey League for this season. Where is it? It's at the bottom, isn't it? Yeah, Sonderschijk, who won it last year. So they got a place in the Champions Hockey League for this year. So this is where it's going to get interesting, because what do the Champions Hockey League now do next year? Because there won't be a place in the Continental Cup. Now, does that mean they just give another place to an league to make it up? Say for 1 year you give 2 places to Norway rather than 1.
Okay,
plucking a country out. That could be one option. Another option is that the Champions Hockey League, if I remember reading the article correctly, are cutting to 24 teams next year anyway.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting, because they're cutting, I had this discussion with you a while back, they're cutting to 24 teams and no more than 4 teams from a country.
Yes, it's something like that, yeah.
Whereas at the moment, your Sweden, Switzerland, they get 5 teams. It depends on how well you did the previous year, but that's by the by. It's disappointing because you've got, it's another opportunity for fans to go around Europe and teams to play other teams in Europe. We liked it over here in the Elite League because we always did quite well, so it made us feel like we've got quite a good league, which we have. It's growing.
Yep.
The problem isn't so much with the teams in the continental Europe. I mean, as you've said, the problem is playing the first round in Iceland, because they can't at the moment. And then without playing the first round, you don't know which team's going to go forward into the next round and so on.
Yeah.
So understandable, and happy that they've made the decision so early on. because at least then everyone knows where they stand. What we've got at the moment with the Champions Hockey League is, particularly with the Cardiff Devils, saying, well, if the Champions Hockey League goes ahead in October, which is it's scheduled to do, they can't compete because they haven't got a team together, and they won't have time to get a team together. So then what's going to happen? Are Färjestad going to just get a bye into the next round? Or
I'd imagine so, yeah. I'd imagine so.
So we don't really know what's going to happen with that. But it is better to just not have the competition. It wouldn't be the same without fans anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, disappointing, but understandable given the circumstances. And hopefully it'll be back next year and they'll figure out what they're going to do. I mean, if the Elite League doesn't happen at all, then do we just not get a team in next year either? And then I feel that puts us back a few steps. But we'll just have to see what happens as things play out, really.
Essentially, the Continental Cup, the best way to describe it, it's one of the dominoes in the kind of the row of dominoes of European hockey. You take that domino out, it causes a few problems lower down the chain. Everything doesn't necessarily link up as good as it usually does in terms of the Champions Hockey League. And obviously, if the Elite League doesn't run this year, then they wouldn't be able to have their team in it anyway. So, to be honest, the current situation and with some of their leagues and some of their teams not necessarily running seasons this year, it kind of seems like the right thing to do. We've obviously talked about the Elite League season in a lot of detail, whether they should go ahead or not. This is another competition that relies heavily on fans being there because that's where they make the most of their money from the group stages or the final stages of this. So yeah, it's a difficult situation to be in, and it throws a bit of a spanner in the works for some of the leagues and some of the teams and the Champions Hockey League. But it's something that can be overcome with a couple of meetings and a couple of decisions from the higher ups, essentially, which is probably what it's going to have to result to for something like this, isn't it? So